So I want to start with the bad news, and that is that everything that you love will eventually die. You and everybody that you love will die. Welcome to the most uplifting talk of the year. We will get to the good news, but I want to make clear this, that we will make it much worse before we get there. Life changes in an instant, in a moment. It can change with a single sentence. Something like, we need to talk. Or it's spread. Or, I'm sorry, we did everything we could. Nobody expects to hear those words. Nobody wants to hear those words. And yet we all will. Most of us live as if we are going to live forever. We believe that we will live to eternity. And we postpone this living thing until the right time. I just need a little bit more money. I just need the kids to grow up so I can leave and do my own thing. I just need more time. I need a better job. The thing about time is it doesn't give a shit. It doesn't care about your wishes. It's just moving along. When my wife Christy died a few years ago, we thought we had done everything we could. We didn't expect that to happen. Soon after that, we lost my business as well. And the horrible and real reminder there is that you cannot outsmart time. Doesn't matter how good you are. Time doesn't give a shit. So, you may not be able to prevent yourself from dying, but you can decide how awake you want to be while you are alive. What are you going to do with the living years? This realization is what is behind Second Harvest. It's a space for people who've achieved something. Maybe they've followed the greasy ladder of corporate climbing, or they've ticked a bunch of boxes on what they thought they were supposed to get and have and win and get certified by. But they now realize that they were missing the whole point of life. It's not about chasing more. It's about noticing what's already there. So today, I want to talk about design. Not the stuff you do on the screens, not the stuff you do in Figma. I want to talk about the kind of design you do to design your life, to design a life you love. Because if you can design a chair or a product or an experience, then you can design your life. You already have the skills. The inescapable truth is that there is a non-zero chance that you will get run over by the proverbial bus tonight. I hope you don't. But it's a real chance. Being conscious of the fact that this is your potentially last day on Earth is actually a really good thing. It's actually like a weirdly liberating idea. Because once you start to realize that you are mortal, you start to live. It's like a second life, a second chance. Once you accept that the future is unknowable and uncontrollable and completely misunderstood, then you can get on with living. My youngest said after his mother died, "Dad, death lets you live." And that was just a 5-year-old talking. And he's not wrong. He has this immense insight and clarity in this idea. Chrissy was 39 years old when she died. I don't know what the average age of this room is, but 39 years old seems like a very young person, right? Somebody with plans and ideas, prospects, a roadmap for the future, right? The thing that we learned in that moment is that most of our suffering comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. We ignore the one thing that truly exists, this present moment, this breath, this exact moment now. And we get obsessed with the things that are in the past and in the future. But the past is just a hallucination sewn together from really flawed memories. And the future, it's just fiction. And it's written entirely by an author with a lot of anxiety. Living in the now isn't mystical fluff. It's actually really practical advice. The author Nassim Taleb once said that in order to be successful, you must ignore your future-focused narrow goals and increase your surface area to positive upside optionality. In plain English, what he's saying is you need to broaden your perspective and anticipate good things happening to you. This isn't just being optimistic. This isn't just being toxically positive or positive toxicity. This is about being proactively searching for opportunities. Being awake to your present means you get better signal from everything around you. It means you're open to luck. And when you turn being consistently awake into a habit, it turns into a system, right? Being awake, expecting luck becomes a habit, and that habit becomes a system. There was an experiment done where people were asked to describe themselves as lucky or unlucky. The experimenters then left money on the doorsteps of the people that were participating in the study. And lucky people immediately saw the money as they stepped over their doorstep. Unlucky people just stepped right over it. We see what we want to see. And when we want to see lucky, we see lucky. You can't control the outcomes, but you can control your exposure to opportunities. And that's why you're here tonight. It all starts with knowing what you desire and how to describe those desires. Most people don't. I bet you if I asked any one of you here tonight to explain in less than a sentence what you want out of life and what you desire, you would struggle with it. We don't give a lot of attention to our needs and our desires. We're just sleepwalking through this life. We're on somebody else's script. So how do you wake up to this? It begins by noticing the state of mind that you're in and the state of your body. You start by observing your thoughts, and you become aware of the feelings that are present in your body. You become conscious of your consciousness. You start thinking about your thoughts. You start feeling what kind of feelings you're having. And then you realize they are not your thoughts. They are not even your feelings. They are just you observing thoughts and feelings in your body. And then when you are truly present, you notice that these thoughts and these feelings are mostly fictions that you've adopted from other people. These internal narratives I call domestic propaganda. They are campaigns claiming to keep you safe and comfortable. But ultimately, they keep you constrained and small. They are our brain's PR department operating like a 1950s East German Stasi, constantly feeding us with misinformation. For those of you who don't remember the 50s, that's like North Korea today. All of you know these stories. You have them in your heads. I'm never going to be able to do that. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough degrees. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. You've inherited these stories. You've collected them from your parents. They are your society stories, your culture stories. There are the stories of strangers on TikTok. There are the proclamations of Chad, who does motivational videos from his Cybertruck. They are not your stories. We might suspect that they are not our stories, but still we feel obligated to hold on to them. The most insidious of these obligations is the self-affirming stories we watch to stay informed. We've bullied ourselves into believing that you're not really paying attention to, if you're not really paying attention to the news 24/7, you're somehow part of the evil. Even when you do try to pay attention to all these breaking news stories, your brain isn't built to process these stories. There's just a huge volume of them, huge volume of information. And you can't make sense of everything. So you compress it into a few narratives that simply conform to the view that you already currently have. Now, consider that there are billions of dollars being spent on capturing your attention with these purpose-built stories. And the primary goal of these stories is to convince you that you need more stories to make sense of the other stories that you're still struggling to understand. You're completely fucked. When I was in my 20s, I chased the promise of treasure and maybe love to a remote island in the Indian Ocean. And for about a year, I lived on this tropical island. It was described by National Geographic as a fourth world country. My job there was to teach mostly naked French tourists how to scuba dive. But one of the side effects of being there was that we had no connection to the rest of the world. There was no newspapers, no television, there was no magazines even. So for a year, I never watched a single news broadcast. I never read a newspaper. I didn't read any current affairs. I didn't know what was going on in the world. But when I came back, it took me about 7 minutes to catch up on what was going on in the world. Seriously, nothing had changed. And you consider this, if you're spending the average of about 3 hours a day, I think that's what's average in America now, scrolling, catching up on the news so you can stay informed, this equates to a staggering 1,095 hours annually, which is that amount of time that you're spending on somebody else's stories that is transitory and not even relevant to your life anymore, like maybe an hour later. So that collection of hours is about 25 work weeks. That's half a year that you're spending on somebody else's story. Imagine what you could do with that time. Imagine if you could be working on your story instead of watching somebody else's story during that time. It's been said that the human body is made out of not cells, but stories. And as a biologist, I cannot believe that. Once you become aware of this, you start observing those thoughts instead of obeying them. And then you get your agency back. You get the space and time to work on the one thing that you should have been working on the whole time. And that's your homework. You have to work on your narrative, on your story. And that's what it means to be awake. We are conditioned to relentlessly pursue certainty. It's sold to us as if it was essential for survival. But life's really big stuff, who you are, what you're supposed to do with your life, your purpose, that stuff emerges out of the messy stuff, not the certain stuff. I would invite you to stop pursuing answers and instead live your questions. You are user experience designers after all. Questions are the real fabric of what you do. Living your questions means letting go of control and inviting curiosity back into your lives. And when you trade control for curiosity, you also release the imposter syndrome. Because you no longer need to be right. You no longer need to have the answers, and you don't have to have your future perfectly laid out. As Rick Rubin says, If you start with a question and you use it to guide an adventure of discovery, you are doing the work of an artist. If you live your questions long enough, you'll wake up one day and realize that you've become the answer you were looking for all along. You've created a new path. You've created a new identity. And you've created a new story. This one is yours. And yeah, I get it. I'm being a little poetic. I'm being a bit of a philosopher up here. But it's also neuroscience. When you let go of certainty, your brain starts to rewire for novelty, for openness, and it sees new patterns. You literally become more creative. And what is creativity if nothing more than the power to manifest something out of nothing? To unlock this ability, you must first allow the existence of that nothing. Nothing is not a void. It is by design. Music without gaps between the notes, it's just noise. A painting without negative spaces, it's just chaos. A career without moments of reflection becomes one continuous, unremarkable blur of burnout. The spaces between things are what give everything else its shape. They're not voids to be filled with distractions and productivity hacks. Don't work to fill the void. Let the void do the work. Letting go of solutions may sound like heresy to some of you. It sounds like surrender. It sounds like giving up. But it's actually an act of courage. In a culture obsessed with constant optimization and productivity hacks and practices, we have to return to stillness, to meditation and daydreaming. Those are truly radical acts. I'm actually going to ask you to try that right now. Close your eyes. Be still for a minute. Don't worry, this is not Burning Man. I'm not going to ask you to do something weird. Just close your eyes. Now, while your eyes are closed, I want you to go to space and time where you've already achieved everything that you desire. Don't think about how you're going to get there. I want you just to go to that place where you already have it and sit with that feeling. Open your heart and let that feeling fill your chest. That feeling is your internal GPS. Follow that. That's your story. Nobody else's. You can open your eyes now. What I've taught you right now is a little trick, because understanding this feeling and knowing that you have this ability to open up your heart and feel that means that you can unlock that feeling anytime you want. And holding that feeling in your body regularly, maybe even daily, through meditation and stillness, will actually bend reality in your favor. Again, it sounds mystical, but it's actual facts. You see, if we know how we want to feel, we will see it and we will recognize it immediately when it shows up. And the opposite is also true. If you don't know what to expect and you don't know how you want to feel, then it can be standing right in front of you and you will not see it. It'll be the money on the doorstep that you step over. This is a magic wand, but it's also a time machine. We don't have to view life as a linear progression aimed at a future destination. Instead, we can collapse time and access that desired feeling in the present whenever we choose. This move towards feeling whole, of reorganizing that you already possess, is magic. It allows you to break free from the tyranny of the future and distinguish between the false narratives that you've inherited and the authentic personal stories. But this means nothing if you do not Do something about it. You cannot wait for inspiration. You can't wait for motivation. Mood follows action. I'll repeat that. Mood follows action. To be present also means to be present in your body. Your body is a vessel for action. And it doesn't require much. The delightful news is that you don't need to make grand gestures. These do not have to be dent in the universe size efforts. Just a small nudge is all you need to start the process. You take the thinnest slice of your best idea and you try to do something small. What I do, surprisingly, is a mini design sprint. First, I establish my hypothesis, which is nothing more than just a gnarly question. I might ask myself, what's my ideal work environment when everything is going exactly right? And then following that, I just write a bunch of questions. How does this day start? Who is there? Who's there with me? What are they doing? What am I doing? How does the day end? And then for the next 3 or 4 days, I will physically practice answering these questions by living the questions. These are what I call thin slice experiments. And as I go through them, I might disregard some of the answers that I get and change them and start again. These are just thin experiments that don't require me to update my LinkedIn profile or look for a new job or reinvent my personality. These thin slice experiments, these brief experiments, allow me to test my ideas and my assumptions without any risk. I can pretend, I can fake it till I make it. Now, if you are going to run a 72-hour experiment like that, you have to also consider the context that we're in right now, the cultural soup that we live in, that these experiments would be running, because nothing exists without context. We live in what Alex Morel currently called the age of average. Uniformity is creeping in everywhere. Every downtown starts to look the same. Every car looks like a polished piece of soap. All of the retail stores start to become indistinguishable. And in this opportunity is our weirdness, our creativity that we bring as designers and experience makers. We can go beyond the feeds that are full of algorithmic mediocrity. And we can go beyond what this behavioral scientist Sandra Mutz describes as, in her paper, Basic Bitches, where she points out that the real slur in that is the word basic. This is our moment. As designers, as creators, as makers of experiences, the world is currently starved for originality. We desperately need things to convey our differences and our humanity. The world needs things that don't need a term sheet to start. They don't have to be big ideas. This is what led to the creation of Second Harvest. My partner Devon, who is herself a recovering venture capitalist, we started thinking, what's at the edge of all this tech noise? What's at the edge of all the AI fuss? And what we discovered is that because we had ourselves been through some big changes, we realized that the only solution to that was to bring back the humanity, the real connection between people. We asked ourselves one very simple question. Could your life be better after something tragic happened? Something monumental changing your life. Could your life be better after that instead of worse? And so we ran a little experiment. We hosted a series of these highly curated, intimate retreats. They were designed for people who were navigating those changes. And we wanted to see whether these gatherings could provide a space for participants to pursue an idea of what they could be like with their own stories. Now, keep in mind, I had never run a retreat in my life before. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I guess what's a little surprising is that despite sounding a bit like a cult, we're just regular people. We're just getting together in interesting places and having meaningful conversations. There are no gurus walking around in white linens. There's no frameworks. There's no postcard, no PowerPoints. There's no book to buy at the gift shop on the way out. It's just a classroom without teachers. It's just people coming together with other people to help each other. And if you don't think that regular people coming together to help other regular people, then consider the latest statistics on loneliness and isolation. There are approximately 52 million Americans who face significant loneliness and isolation. Loneliness is a profound crisis, significantly worsened by technology that fosters antisocial behavior. And it's much worse for men because it leads to extremism, right? It leads to bad behavior. Loneliness is as bad for you as smoking, and it's also the root cause for a lot of the extreme behavior that we see. So make no mistakes. Connecting regular people with other regular people for good conversation is about as precious an idea that you can have right now. So what we're doing is bringing people together, but counterintuitively, we're making it inconvenient to do that on purpose. To get there, to get to our retreats, you have to take a plane, sometimes two. You have to take a train from the plane, and then a car will pick you up at the station and drive you to some mountaintop retreat. It's analog. You can't phone it in. You have to make an effort. You have to make a commitment. It's not convenient. It's not a one-swipe checkout. Our retreats also have that special energy when you bring interesting people together. They have these deep, meaningful moments, but mixed with emotional adventures. To capture this, we embed videographers and photographers side by side with our participants, kind of like a reality TV show. And then on the last night, we make a premiere of their experience, which we show to them. The whole time that they've been doing all the things that they've been doing over the 5 days, we've been recording that, and then we play it back to them during the Last Supper. This is not just social media content. It's a short film that shows the participants how they have been living and reinventing themselves over the last 5 days. In full transparency, it's a lot of hard work. Creating these experiences, creating those films, you need a fast-moving team that can work long hours, but it's worth it. As you'll see in a minute, I'm going to show you one of the videos. It's worth it. We make this extra effort because these connections, we believe, are important. We think that our ancestors and the people that came before us didn't struggle through war and famine and slavery and all kinds of other disasters so that they could sit on their phones in the comments complaining that they're lonely. We think humans deserve more. We're not anti-digital and we're not anti-technology. But we couldn't do what we do without the technology. But we know that people want to be connected more than they want connectivity. And we believe that we're not just the first people to do this, and we will not be the last. There will be a significant increase in jobs and businesses and founders creating businesses that bring people together. Maybe it doesn't always have to be analog, but we think that this is the next wave. And that might be hard to hear because billions of dollars is going into AI models and LLMs and who knows what, chips and all kinds of other stuff. But there's something else that's happening too. There's a zig to the zag, if you will. There's a counter movement. And that is people want to spend time with other people. That is an experience worth creating. The wellness travel industry is almost at $1 trillion now. It's a quiet, sleeping monster. I mean, look at us tonight. We're here. You could have made this a Zoom call. I don't know why you didn't. It could have been a Zoom call. And we're out in the real world. We're so rebellious. We're so dangerous. I mean, it's true that AI will devour some of the specialities, and that's fine. I'm kind of excited by some of that. I want the AI specialist that can find the tumor in a scan. Right? That's great news. I'm looking forward to that. But I have to remind myself that these are rearview mirrors to our creativity. They can show us what's come. They can show us what has been. But they can't show us the future, and they certainly can't show us the spaces in between. AI doesn't know what it doesn't know. It can't operate in the unknown. They lack imagination. And for a moment, AI can't replace this analog world. It can't replace you guys. It can't replace the generalists, these weird polymaths who cross over domains, cross-functionally. It cannot replace your unique artistic sensibilities, your tastes, your discernment, and those niche passions that ultimately lead to the creative work that you make, that express your love for each other, and that heal your pain, and that ultimately bring your personal stories out into the open. To you, as experience makers, my advice is simple. Pursue the skills and challenges that you have not mastered yet. Connect the dots between the silos and the disciplines. This is where the real magic is. It's concealed in these spaces. This is where new career paths will be forged. Don't worry about AI stealing the job that was. Be more interested in the job that doesn't exist yet. It is the golden age for people like you and me who can't explain to other people what we do. We are entering into this weird sort of renaissance. And I think it's a great time for those who let go of curiosity, embrace curiosity and let go of credentials. From the age of average rises the age of the weirdo. Now, let's get real for a second. I know some of you are probably between jobs or you're looking for something, and all this talk of Renaissance and philosophy is like, whoa, just get on with it, dude. So, let me offer you this thought. You will not find your next opportunity scrolling online. I bet you if I asked you for a show of hands how many people have submitted resumes, I would see thousands and thousands of resumes have been submitted and very few opportunities arising from that. The new chapter that you starts over a meal, over coffee, at the gym, a group activity, volunteering for a local charity. These are the opportunities that the applicant tracking systems cannot touch and will never be able to serve. Human connections, genuine human connections is where you will get your next job. So, I hate to sound like your dad, but stop scrolling, put your phone down and go out into the real world. Invite somebody out. Host an event. Thank you, Brady, and all of you. Unless you're selling supplements, stop networking. Have real conversations. Ones that are honest. Tell your story. People can't help you if they don't know what you want. If you're hiding behind your manicured, fictitious resume, they won't know what you want, what you care about. People getting together in one-on-one and small groups, that story is as old as the hills. We've been doing that for about 100,000 years or more. Crafting your story and then investing in the art of telling that story, that's going to serve you and it's going to serve the skills that you will need in the work of an experienced designer. So, in spite of my opening volley about your inevitable death, I truly want you to have a good life. I want you to love your lives. I want you to love whatever it is that you're working on. And so, I want to leave you with these things. Accepting that you will die frees you to live right now fully. Because most suffering comes from trying to control what cannot be controlled. Naval Ravikant says, the only test of intelligence is whether you get what you want out of life. But I would say that the true measure of your personal intelligence is simply whether you know what you desire in this life, and if you have a story that you can convey to other people. That starts with self-awareness. This isn't about being self-assessed. It's about being aware of your thoughts and your feelings. And initially, interrogating those thoughts and feelings will feel exhausting. It'll quickly become a habit, and then you won't even notice it. You will start recognizing your domestic propaganda, and you'll be able to switch it off. I invite you to write a new story, one where you're kind to yourself, and everything turns out the way you desire. Practice filtering all your thoughts through the very best version of that story, your highest story, and watch how everything changes for you. True meaning in life is found in the active pursuit of your own questions, not blindly following the answers of others. Nurturing this curiosity is vital for your personal development and for conquering imposter syndrome. In a world striving for conformity, the qualities of originality are valuable assets. Curiosity, cultivated taste, genuine proximity to others, and the sense of playfulness are the unique human superpowers that artificial intelligence cannot yet duplicate. But transforming self-awareness and insightful questions into the world, into the opportunities that you want, requires small, deliberate actions, mini experiments or thin slices. These actions must be manageable enough to be consistently done, but significant enough that they clearly align with your enduring, timeless version of who you are. These actions are more powerful when conducted in the real world with real people. Opportunity lives in relationships, not algorithms. The analog world and the remarkable moments that arise from those opportunities is where you will find your next job, your next opportunity. Maybe you'll even find a romantic relationship or a friend as well. So in closing, be awake, be curious, be weird, be yourself, but whatever you do, do not be average. Because if you're average, you're invisible. And while we're all guaranteed to die, none of us came here to disappear. Thank you.